So the iPhone 13 Pro Max has been on the market since 2021, and this year we're seeing really strong offerings from Poco with the Poco F5 Pro and F5. But in this speed test, I want to take a look at how fast is the Poco F5 Pro compared to the iPhone 13 Pro Max. Let's go ahead and begin with a boot up in 3, 2, go. And again, these are not in the same price category and they're not really competitors, but I don't make all my videos because they have to make logical sense. I like to compare the phones that I have experience with, and I really like seeing how these, mid-rangers with these really good performing CPUs kind of stack up to the more premium models, because really what you're looking for is great performance from these mid-rangers in 2023, and the iPhone 13 Pro Max a hair quicker to turn on versus the Poco F5 Pro, which features the Snapdragon 8 Plus Gen 1, and we have the Apple A15 Bionic on the left. So let's go ahead and see how they do from a biometric standpoint. So with the iPhone 13 Pro Max, you do have Face ID. When you do raise to wake, it will come up there. And one thing I've really enjoyed about the 13 Pro Max is that it's not very different from the 14 Pro Max. So if you do want to pick up an iPhone 13 Pro Max, you're basically getting nearly the same phone, and it's remained that way all the way up until now. But when it comes to unlocking the Poco F5 Pro, we have a fingerprint sensor in display, which is actually located quite low. I actually like them when they're more up here. So, but it is pretty fast. And then the face unlock, just look at the phone and it's right in there. So I would say Poco F5 Pro actually unlocks faster than the iPhone 13 Pro Max, because again, you don't really have to look at the phone. If you know where the fingerprint's at, you can just unlock. Whereas this, you can be on some weird angles, but you gotta kind of be looking at the sensors. The Poco F5 Pro does unlock faster. Now from a general software standpoint, one of the more impressive things about the Poco F5 Pro has been that the MIUI, while it is the Poco version of the MIUI with these categorized app tray, it has been performing very well in terms of just speed. It does have a 120 Hertz panel on board. It is OLED, it gets plenty bright. You can see right there the refresh, 120 Hertz. That's something that's really key about the iPhone 13 Pro Max, and why it's definitely probably a better decision than over the iPhone 14 Plus is the 120 Hertz ProMotion. But here we're looking at about the same performance here, although the iPhone tends to be, I think, a little bit smoother in certain applications, just because, Android is, runs on 1,000 different phones, whereas Apple's a little bit more tightly controlled. So I would say the consistency probably a little better on the left, but the speed is all the way there too on the right with the 120 Hertz and the 8 Plus Gen 1. This thing is a boss performer at less than $500. All right, guys, so we've arrived at the app test. You can see both these phones are about the same size. One has a punch hole, one has a notch. Let's see how the speed actually is, and it looked like that was faster on the left. Calculator. I also put the animations for the Poco F5 Pro into its relaxed mode. You could see faster on the right. So the animations match up good with iOS. And I gotta tell you, out of all the phones I've tried this year, the Xiaomi devices, the Poco devices, which are pretty similar, they have the closest, I think, to iOS animations I've seen on Android devices. Let's go into Twitter. Some people say, well, they just copied them. Well, maybe, but I don't care. Here's the deal. Both phones are smooth, and I love that. Let's go into Groupon. You noticing something here? This is a mid-ranger phone performing neck and neck with the iPhone 13 Pro Max. Like neck and neck. This is insane. Look at this. Best Buy. About the same products. I mean, this is ridiculous. For the Poco F5 Pro, we already know the iPhone is a beast. Let's go into eBay. iPhone faster there. What about gaming though? Is the games gonna be faster for the iPhone? That's always gonna be, that was quicker on the iPhone. That's always usually where they shine. But the Poco F5 says not today. Not on that one. Let's go into Asphalt 9. You can see the Poco F5 Pro faster there. This is pretty impressive. I'm seeing even the games opening first here on the Poco F5 Pro. But what about in Call of Duty? We'll have to see how this one does. And you'll see Call of Duty seeming to load first here on the Poco F5 Pro. Yeah, so we were in on the Poco F5 Pro first. Let's head up out of here. We'll go into Subway Surfers. And you'll see Subway Surfers faster on the right. This is pretty crazy. So yes, in 2023, you can get phones that are faster than flagship phones from 2021 that cost $1,200 for $400, $450. So get what you like, but at the end of the day, you do have plasticky, you don't have the best cameras, you probably don't have as many updates, obviously. But I'm just saying, from pure CPU, a pure speed standpoint, there's not really a lot of slow phones here in 2023, and the Poco F5 Pro is one of the best examples of that. And I'm not trying to sell you on it. I'm not making this video to get you to buy the Poco F5 Pro. I just wanted to check out these two in speed because both of these phones are very fast, but the Poco F5 Pro is a phone you don't typically see this kind of performance at this price point. So blazing fast, I would call them about a tie. So while the newer 14 Pro Max is probably a little faster, S23 Ultra a little faster, the Poco F5 Pro pretty much is tying with yesteryear flagships. All right, so let's go ahead and see how fast they are in the RAM management. And you'll see, what about the animations too? Let's take a look at that. And you can see both of them holding things just fine. That was a mistap on my part. Do that again. Dead trigger 2. Okay, dead trigger 2. Let's go into eBay. And I think I was tapping too fast for the response time to not register. Look at those animations though, man. Wow. Things are like identical, like literally identical. They even look the same. It's insane. Look at this RAM management. Butter on the Poco F5 Pro. Look at the standard is the iPhone. We know we're looking at this as the standard, but this was butter on the Poco F5 Pro. This is insane. Very nice performance there on the right, with obviously great performance on the iPhone 13 Pro Max. Now I'm feeling a little bit of heat right there. What about this phone? Feeling a little bit of heat up here as well. Both of them about equally as warm, not too hot, not super comfortable, but with a case you probably wouldn't even feel anything. All right guys, so let's go ahead and take a look at the cameras here. So I'm gonna bring this up here and just see how much faster one or the other launches over each other. And I'll do this in 3, 2, go. The iPhone 14 Pro Max. Did I say 14? I sure did. iPhone 13 Pro Max. Faster. Let's hit that camera one more time. 3, 2, go. Let's go ahead now and take a picture. About the same. Backing it out. The lens is actually quicker to respond on the iPhone. So I would say the iPhone's a little bit better here with the camera than the Poco, not only in performance, but actually the speed of it as well. All right, and our final Geekbench 6 scores are in. A lot of people like to refer to this as the Apple bench, but Poco F5 Pro definitely losing here on the single core and multi-core score, 1305 single, 4006 on the multi. Now if you take a look over here at 2277 on the single and a 5660 on the multi. But here's one important thing to note. In that multi-core score, we have a 4006. So when you're really pushing this phone, it's actually quite powerful. It is CPU. The 3D Mark doesn't really work on the Poco F5 Pro. I tried it already, so I'm not gonna run that test, but you've seen in reality, it is what it is. The Galaxy phones are very fast, but these animations on the Poco really have shown to be quite similar to the iOS experience. And if you are looking for something like an A54 or something to compete, you know, in terms of performance with a more premium phone, but it's out of your budget, Poco F5 should be high on your list. But iPhone 13 Pro Max is a good thing to look at it again. It's been a great device. It's still getting 17. It's performing like a stunner, but it's definitely nothing too special in terms of performance anymore. It's not the top of the line. It still has that A15 Bionic, which is pretty impressive right there with 6 gigabytes of RAM. But you know, even cheaper phones are starting to catch up in performance. So if you're looking for next level performance, you're definitely going to want to probably get the iPhone 15 Pro Max or get the S23 Ultra or something brand new. But other than that, the 13 Pro Max still has got plenty of years left with the Poco F5 Pro being a solid mid-ranger option. So let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section of this video. Are you picking up a mid-ranger this year, or are you going with a flagship device like the 13 Pro Max? I'll catch you on the next episode. Thank you very much for watching. Nick here, and peace.